The apocalypse is upon us. Better get my TBR sorted out. Hello and welcome to the Book Thing. My name is Mark and this is the 12 books that I'm going to save in the event of the apocalypse. This was a video that was originally done by Book Time with Elvis, and there's since been some responses done by another bibliophile reads, Raina reads stuff, and Book Chat with Pat. And since then Cliff at Cliff Stark Gems has also done it and he's tagged me into it. So it's a tag video now apparently. So there were some rules regarding which books you could take with you for the apocalypse. The first rule is they had to be physical books, which is fair because electronic devices aren't going to work in the apocalypse. The next two rules are a bit trickier though. First up, they can't be part of a series, and secondly, it has to be books since I started my BookTube channel. Now, I started my BookTube channel less than a year ago, and I've done the numbers, and there are only 48 books that are physical books since I started the channel. 38 of those are part of a series because the vast majority of them are Discworld books. On top of that, there are a couple which could arguably be considered part of a series as well. So White Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys, that's a prequel to Jane Eyre. There by Tommy Orange has got a sequel, so that's part of a series now as well. And Germinal by Emile Zola is arguably part of a series as well. So that would leave me with 7 books that I've got to choose from. And quite frankly, of those 7 books, there's a few I really wouldn't want to take with me. So I am relaxing the part of a series rule to say that I can't take any more than one from a series, and it has to be something that stands on its own. It can't rely on you having read something beforehand and read something afterwards in order to get the full story. The other thing I'm relaxing is it has to be a book that I've talked about since starting BookTube. So I'm allowing myself to take with me some books that I haven't read, as well as some books that I read before starting the YouTube channel. I've got 3 categories of books here. The books I'll never get sick of reading, the books that I can digest and spend a bit more time with than I have done in the past, and the books that I'm finally getting around to. And 2 of my books are actually part of an entirely different subset, which I'll talk to you about right at the end. So in the books that I'll never get sick of section, the first one I'm going to go with, because I'm contractually obliged to choose a Discworld book, is Small Gods by Terry Pratchett. Now, this is an ideal choice for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it's one of the best Discworld books. And number 2, this is Terry Pratchett's satire on organised religion. And quite frankly, if the apocalypse comes about, it's fairly likely that fundamentalist religion is going to have something to do with it. The next one that I'm choosing is I, Claudius by Robert Graves, and arguably this is also part of a series as well because there's a follow-up to this, Claudius the God. The reason I choose that is because it's an amazing book. It is the fictional autobiography of the Roman Emperor Claudius and his route to power, and in his lifetime, the other emperors that he saw, like Tiberius and Caligula, all those mad despots who left a wake of destruction behind them. Again, that's probably going to be quite appropriate to where we end up. The next one I wouldn't get sick of is A Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole. And this is a very, very funny book. And it's the story of this arrogant, obese, pseudo-intellectual who really thinks that the world isn't giving him the respect that he deserves, but in actual fact he's fairly inept at everything he turns his hand to. But there's no connection to any potential apocalypses we might be facing there. Now, at the end of an apocalypse, what I really want to do is laugh at the absurdity of war with Catch-22. This is one of these books that I just never ever get fed up of reading. And it really just is about the absurdity of the war machine and everyone involved in it. And the last one for my stuff I'll never get tired of reading pile. This one is a little bit of a stand-in. This is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This particular book is a stand-in because I do have a volume somewhere which has both Frankenstein and Dracula in it. So it's a bit of a cheat that I take this one book and I get those 2 classics that I never get tired of rereading. So now we're on to the books that I'm going to have time to really digest. And the first one I'm going to go with is Bleak House by Charles Dickens. And quite frankly, you know, if the apocalypse is coming, you need to take some Dickens with you. And Bleak House, being as large as it is and as wonderful as it is, that's the one I'm going to take. The next one I can also take my time digesting is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. There's so much in there to unpick and unravel. I just need to be careful what I do with it, because in the post-apocalyptic world, it could end up as some sort of pseudo-religion. And speaking of things that I'll now have ample time to digest, I'm going to go with Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. Haven't read this, and the sheer size of it has been intimidating me, and apparently it's a fairly impenetrable text as well. But, you know, the world has ended. I'll have a shot at it. Which lead me into the books that I'll be finally getting around to, and the first one is another thick one, and that is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. And again, it's supposed to be a fantastic book. It's so many people's favourite, but I mean, the size of it, that has been intimidating me for a very long time. And, you know, the world has ended. This will be my chance. And if the world is ending, it might be finally time to give another chance to Jane Austen. I only read Emma when I was in school. I didn't like it, and I've sworn off Jane Austen ever since. But now I've been thinking that maybe I should probably give her another try. And actually, just as an aside, in the event of the apocalypse, whoever came up with stickers that don't come off the cover of a book, if I find you in a post-apocalyptic lawless setting, I'm going to go Mad Max on your ass. So that was 10 books, and I said I was going to have a little mystery category at the end. And the last category I am going to show is children's books, because I would like to think that in the event of saving something for the apocalypse, I'm not just saving it for me, but I'm saving it for generations to come. And if there are very few books around the place, you know, if the next generation that is growing up in this hellscape, if the only bedtime story you've got for them is David Foster Wallace, then humanity truly is screwed. So the first one I've chosen is The Gruffalo by Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler, which is funny. It is the story of a resourceful mouse. If you've got young kids or grandkids, just do yourself a favour and read them The Gruffalo. And the final one would be Guess How Much I Love You by Sam McBratney, illustrated by Anita Jaram. And this is just a beautiful book. It's been a favourite in this house for many years. There is a little nut brown hair soft toy in this house that has been well loved for many years as well. And in a world that might need a little bit of hope, I think Guess How Much I Love You might be an ideal choice for that. So that was my 12 books that I would save in the event of the apocalypse. So how about you? I'm going to throw this out to anyone who watches it who hasn't already done this and say, what are your 12 books that you would save in the event of an apocalypse? In the meantime, thanks a million for watching. In the assumption that there isn't going to be an apocalypse, I'll see you the next time I do a video, and take care.